Okay, so this is actually an actual point that's really important. There's going to come a time in your training, in your acting, and there's going to be even more exercises and such that you can check and see if I've already done already when you see this. But basically, that fantasies, the whole concept of fantasies, the concept of catching the intrigue of your imagination. So you want to capture the intrigue of your imagination and capture your fantasy. Now, people say, well, hold on. There's a lot of groups and there's a lot of things and there's good groups and there's bad groups and there's everything in between and there's just things that don't fit for one person, but they fit for another. And this is the thing. This is the thing about fantasies. What you fantasize about is totally, absolutely your business. It is completely, absolutely your prerogative. It is nothing. I am not the judge. Because here's the thing. I could be a cat person or a dog person, and all of a sudden your best fantasy is hopefully that the cat ends up running out one night and you don't have to deal with feeding it. It might be an actual fantasy. It's not my place to judge. So here's the thing. What you want to find, and this is the reason why self-discovery with fantasies is important. You want to find stuff that activates you. Why is the activation important? You've got to be able to come up with lists of things that activate your acting. Lists. So when you have a fantasy, when you have a fleeting thought of, oh, I wish such and such, write down that wish. Write it down. Examine it. Take a look at it. What was the wish? What? You wished that what? Maybe you wished that you had more space, or you had more property, or you wanted to be able to have a new car, or whatever the fantasy is. Work within the fantasy to mine your own value. You're mining your own value. You're finding your own value. Now you're going to find out that a lot of the things that you you basically have fancies for them, right? You have this, like, it could be a fleeting. Maybe you want a McLaren car or something like that. Well, they're very nice. They're very nice cars, but is it going to be something that's going to be there that you want to be able to, you really like and you want to keep having it? Is this a fantasy that's something that's just fleeting? You want to have a new car because your neighbor got a new car and you figure the McLaren would be cooler than theirs. You identify this element where if you're that kind of person and you're going to be honest with yourself, is that the type of person you are? And I'm not judging. Hi, can you do me a favor so I can do you a favor? I know a lot about acting and I need really good acting questions. Don't be nervous if they're not as good as they need to be. Just submit them. One comment per entry. And then I'll be able to look at this, sort it out, and get back to you some really good, solid acting answers that you can consider so that you can build your own acting technique. I don't want to affect it in any way that harms it. All I want to do is make sure that you have every single tool that you can in your actor's toolbox, that you can then access yourself to be able to get those emotions and put those into your work, right into your imaginary circumstances. I'm not judging, but the thing is you need to identify the components in your work that make a difference to you, which are actually activations. And with activations, you can actually then work to be able to mine elements of your emotional preparation. So you're actually working with ingredients of your emotional preparation. Now I know We're going to go through this too. This is the whole thing about fantasy work in Meisner or fantasy work in acting. We'll go through that. There's definitely applications for the exercise. I'm suggesting that you can start to think about, start journaling about, start putting on paper a little bit. Maybe there's a type of person in the future that you'd love to be able to have relationships with, right? Maybe they always have blonde hair. Maybe they are tall, dark, and handsome. Whatever it is, there's an activation quality to that. Now, it doesn't have to be all weird or anything. It can really just literally be something that starts to uncover and unlayer yourself as the artist and as the actor, so you can start to unlayer and discover who you actually are. Back in the day, long time ago, Sanford Meisner used to say this quote about you want to be an onion. The work in acting is like being an onion, and you peel back the onion layer by layer by layer. Same thing. You want to do that with the acting work. That's this whole concept of doing scenes. A really well constructed scene has revelation, layer by layer by layer by layer, moment by moment by moment in the scene. So the scene actually becomes more meaningful as it goes along. Well, the way to achieve that, just side note, is you do your emotional preparation. And that the more interactive, the more interaction, the more give and take with that emotional ballpark that you can successfully achieve in the beginning, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. See, this is the reason why you want emotional follow through. You want to be able to really go deep, get your emotion activated. And then you want to be revealing with interaction. Now, what does this have to do with fantasies? It has every single thing to do with what stimulates you. Whatever and however. It's not my place to say, maybe honestly, the thought of going and becoming a bishop somewhere would be enthralling to you. Maybe that's a fantasy that's just absolutely, that's maybe not what I would have ever thought of, right? Maybe it's just not something that I would have ever thought. But maybe that element does something to activate you. Or maybe that's a part that you know that those are ingredients in the script, and those are the things that you have to identify. So then you would match what it is that actually activates and motivates you. And you find an active motivation. You find something that's something that you can truthfully spark that emotion of. So you got that emotion sparked, then you parallel that with the thing that's in the script, and then you can work to be able to match them. So they're actually, you then enter the imaginary circumstance, and you're living out this life in the imaginary circumstance. Beautiful. It's exactly how you can learn to do the craft of acting so that it will actually unpeel itself like an onion does. In every single scene can be that way if you use craft. I mean, most of the scenes. This is very confusing. Could you help me out to help you out? I mean, this is very odd, but the reality is, all I'm asking is I'm asking for you to ask me really good acting questions. Really good acting questions. Now, don't worry if they're not too good. Just submit what you have. Ask questions, because you never know. I have studied so much, and I'd be more than happy to tell you what I think you need to be able to know to unhinge the access that you need to be able to access your own talent. So take a moment. It doesn't have to be long, but take a moment, maybe once every week or 2 weeks, or you could do every month, and just write down some of the strongest fantasies that you've had that time period. And that what that will do is that then when it comes time to work with that work, you'll have a larger list of things that actually motivate you things that you actually have desire to be able to put yourself into that imaginary circumstance. So hopefully this has been very helpful. Boop the like button, and ask me any question about acting. I will tell you exactly what, if I know the answer, through studying at least 30 to 40,000 acting exercises. I will be more than happy to share what I know with you that would be able to help you. And if you'd like to, then you can join me on my live feed. Okay? So it's very, very important, this whole concept of starting the work to write down your fantasies. Helping you find the emotions that I know that are there inside of yourself. Activate those and then be able to put those into your acting is what I am all about. I think it's fantastic. I think it's very, very interesting. And I think it's not being done enough in acting. So if you would, submit questions to me so I can actually help you to develop your own acting technique. Personalize your own acting technique so that you can have this journey, an experience within the imaginary circumstances that you leap yourself into. And then all of a sudden you can have expanded, beautiful, absolutely emotionally rich exercises. And it's absolutely doable. You can fully do it.